You ever get that feeling you're being watched? Well, what if I told you there's a massive, hidden surveillance system out there and it's quietly tracking your every move in public? It's creating a permanent record of everywhere you go and when. And this isn't some sci-fi movie plot. Nope, it's happening right now, probably in your own town. So let's take a closer look at these creepy cameras you see on every corner.
You've probably seen them 100 times and never given them a second thought. They're designed to just blend in. You'll find them mounted next to traffic lights, kind of tucked away on utility poles, and sometimes you'll even see them attached to city garbage trucks. But here's the thing you might not realize. They're all connected. They're all part of one huge and constantly growing surveillance network. So that's the big question, isn't it? What are they really watching? Well, I can tell you, it's a lot more than just traffic. They're watching us. And the data they're grabbing is being used to piece together a surprisingly detailed picture of your life. Okay, so let's peel back the layers here and really get into what these cameras on every corner are truly up to. This is where it gets really personal, really fast. We're talking about pretty much every trip you take in your car potentially being logged. I mean, just think about it for a second. Driving to a political protest, visiting a reproductive health clinic, going to a meeting for an opposition party, or even just day-to-day stuff like dropping your kid off at school. All of these movements, which, let's be honest, can reveal a ton about our private lives and beliefs, are being documented and stored away in a searchable government database. So you're probably wondering, how is a system this massive even possible? Well, it's not just a bunch of random disconnected cameras. Oh, no. This is a highly sophisticated, interconnected network. And to really get what's going on, we need to understand how it all works. The tech behind it all is called automatic license plate readers, or ALPRs for short. But honestly, calling them just cameras is a huge understatement. You should think of each one as a single node in a massive cloud-based surveillance system. They don't just snap a picture, they log your car's movements in real time, and then upload everything to a giant central server. The whole process is actually pretty simple, and it happens in the blink of an eye. First, an ALPR camera scans your license plate. Step 2, it immediately uploads that image, along with the exact time, the GPS location, and details about your car, to a cloud server that's usually run by a private company. Third, that little piece of data becomes part of a massive, searchable national database. And then step 4, this is the real game changer, police departments that contribute their local data get to share and access the entire nationwide network. Now they'll say this is for tracking stolen cars or finding suspects, but it also means the movements of millions of totally ordinary people are being logged too. So what this all adds up to is pretty stark. The end result isn't just a folder of local photos somewhere. It's a real-time, nationwide surveillance grid that's logging the movements of millions of everyday, law-abiding people. And this, as you can imagine, brings us to a huge conflict. This is where this incredibly powerful technology smacks right up against one of the most fundamental rights we have. I know what you're thinking right now, because it's the most obvious question in the world. Hold on a second. Is this even legal? It just feels like something that shouldn't be allowed. Let's go right to the source code for our rights here, the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution. It's there for a very specific reason, to protect us from exactly this kind of widespread surveillance. It says the government needs a warrant for searches. The whole point is to prevent them from having unchecked power, by making them get a judge to approve a specific reason before they can go digging into your private life. And it's not like the Supreme Court has been quiet on this stuff. They've already set some really clear precedents. Take U.S. versus Jones. They ruled that police need a warrant to stick a GPS tracker on your car. Then there's Carpenter versus U.S., where they said police need a warrant to get your past location data from your cell phone company. The logic here seems pretty straightforward, right? Which brings us right back to the big flashing question. If tracking your car requires a warrant, and getting your location data from a third party requires a warrant, then how on earth is this gigantic ALPR network allowed to track the movements of millions of people without any warrants at all? Well, it all comes down to this really clever loophole. You can think of it as a perfect circle created by a public-private partnership. See, the government can't build this surveillance dragnet itself. The Fourth Amendment stops them. At the same time, private companies can't build it at scale because they don't have access to public infrastructure, like all those utility poles. So what do? They team up. The government gives the companies access, and in return, the companies give the government the data. It creates this neat little workaround that bypasses the very constitutional protections that were meant to keep us free.
And the real danger here isn't just about one or two pictures of your car. It's about what happens when you start putting all of those little pieces together. In the world of privacy law, this is actually a known concept. It's called the mosaic theory. And the idea is pretty simple. One single tile from a mosaic doesn't show you much of anything. But when you put enough of them together, all of a sudden, you can see the entire incredibly detailed picture of someone's whole life. So let's just break down how this mosaic gets built, piece by piece. It starts with just one data point. Your car spotted on Main Street. On its own, that seems totally harmless, right? But the system keeps collecting many data points. And soon, it's not just a single location, it's your weekly travel patterns. And from there, it doesn't take much to get to the complete picture. A detailed story revealing your routines, who you associate with, maybe even your political or religious beliefs. It becomes the story of your life, told by your travels. Ultimately, all of this brings us to a fundamental choice we have to make between two big competing ideas: the promise of more security and the preservation of our freedom. See, the problem with building a mass surveillance system like this is you never know who's going to be in charge of it down the road. As one privacy expert put it so well, you have to ask yourself, imagine the most dangerous person you can think of in power. Now imagine they inherit the surveillance network you just said yes to. Kind of puts it in perspective, doesn't it? And look, this isn't just some abstract fear for the future. For people like Jen Barber, who's quoted here, it is a daily reality. She says, "I now live in a community where I cannot get in or out of my neighborhood without a flock camera watching me. I don't need Big Brother building a lifetime record of my whereabouts. It's none of their business." And that right there is the heart of the whole issue. Freedom of movement is supposed to be a core liberty, but you have to ask, what does it really mean if every single place we go is being recorded, cataloged, and stored away forever? At the end of the day, this isn't just about your car. It's about whether things like privacy and freedom can even exist anymore once you step outside your front door. So the final question is really for you to think about. Are you ready to give that up?